with water.
Welcome to the 90th Minute Whistle podcast presented by Live Sports. I'm your host, Mario. I'm here back with my co host, Leon. Yo, you can't hear nothing in the background, by the way?
I can hear everything in the background.
All right.
That's free promotion going on there now.
Not necessarily.
I mean, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
So yeah, another podcast. It's been a while since we were here, right?
Yes, unfortunately, because it's not paid yet, like that forced
You know,
focus on it alone.
so that's the key for persons to support. You know, but you said top five leagues,
just top five.
just the top five. Okay, so Syria is wrapped up.
I'm gonna say that. Well,
Syria is wrapped up. Um, Barring an absolute catastrophic failure in Napoli, like maybe probably losing all the remaining matches that they have, and Lazio winning all their remaining matches, I think Syria goes to Napoli. I think Lazio will finish second, and then the fight is on for the other three or the other two positions. Juve getting back their 15 points puts them third. Roma is in fourth, and the Milan clubs are battling it out for fifth and sixth.
Roma is in fifth.
You're in fifth.
Yep.
You lost your match.
Last match, yeah, last match. Well, won 3 straight, then lose that match.
Oh, you're okay. So you're fifth on that looks like head to head because your goal differences are equal.
Yeah.
So Milan is fourth on the head to head.
And you've only 3 points in front of us.
Yes. But you're leveled on points, so.
Yeah, but just like with Napoli, I think like the strain of the season I hit we at the worst time possible. Because like I said, Roma started the season bad because of the Wolipa injuries. And then when you look at the little run with them go on throughout the mid-season after the World Cup,
yeah,
it was we're already scratching and clawing just for finish up in a season where if we did if all of our players weren't injured and if some of our players never got themselves sold,
yeah,
because the squad was weakened a lot because Roma had to choose between certain players and Jose, and they backed the manager, and a lot of players were sold because of that. What about very talented players who some key contributors and some who would have just been good in case people get injured. Then you look at Lazio's situation where they've just been gradually grinding away at the season. I still don't think they've fully adapted to Sarri ball, but I think both Roma and Lazio have benefited from the Milan clubs not being good this year. I wouldn't say not being good, but underperforming.
mm-hmm.
Granted, they've had the Champions League and both of them are in the Champions League final. But if you're to look at how they've performed as a team in the league, Piolo's injuries for AC Milan have been terrible, worse than even Roma. There's a point him could have barely call out a squad. So I have to give him some credit to that. The problem in Inter's squad wasn't built for this manager. And yes, they have talented players who can still play in his style of play, but they're still very much built like an Antonio Conte team. So it has been a struggle for the players to adapt to in Simone Inzaghi's style in terms of, yeah, we use the same formation, but we are a tiki-taka team. We're not a team that kicks the ball long. I look for cross the ball in the box every 5 seconds. Is it me?
Mm-hmm.
We utilize a target man, but him if he can play football at him foot, which is why no matter how much they try to appease Lukaku, Dzeko still starts over him for the most part.
Yeah. But like Lukaku has been bad for Inter this year though. Like they've complained about him being fat, being unfit, being overweight, not doing anything. Like he only has 2 goals scored this year from open play.
Yeah, but
That was at the weekend.
yeah, but you have to also understand that he was injured at the time, so I can't kill him for that.
Yeah, but he went there overweight. That's the issue. Like preseason, like Lukaku has been like Inter has been struggling to get Lukaku fit throughout the entire season because he came there unfit.
Yeah,
So
but
the diet that
there's
he
a
had when he was there the first time.
but even in that case,
Mhm.
like you have to remember he came to Chelsea, go through all of them, go through, and then go back to Inter. So like
He came to Chelsea and the diet regime that he was on in Inter, him decides him not gonna do it. Him stop do it.
yeah, but like I said, I think that has to more overall do with the day to day of what happened up at Chelsea.
I mean, what he did at Chelsea.
No, but
Remember that he was the one that decided that he was going to burn his bridge.
either way, Leon, my point is that my
It's
point.
him burning his own bridge. It don't make it sound like say yo, the club gave him a rough deal. He was
I never,
brought in as the
let me stop.
focal point, as the main man,
Hold on.
and he fucked it up.
Hold on. I'm not saying that the club gave him a bad deal. The point I was trying to make, and this also goes to a bigger overall point, even if he's a player that is settled with a club. For example, Jadon Sancho. Sancho has no reason to not be playing well at Man United, but he's come out and spoken about his mental health. And Dele Alli should not have a problem playing at Besiktas because the squad is actually built somewhat around him and still struggles. That's why I said that like players gaining weight and stuff. And this was the only point I was trying to make before you have to make me carry it into a deeper conversation.
Mhm.
The point I was trying to make is that when a player goes through what they did at Chelsea and then jump back to Inter and is not immediately a starter again or have the same role in the team, I'm just saying all of that plays into how you treat your body and all of that stuff and how you handle the situations that you're in. And for me, even when Lukaku went back to Inter, it wasn't a situation where Inter wanted him back or needed him back. It was a situation of Chelsea need to get rid of him, and like it did work out last time. So we do have a problem doing it this time. But it wasn't like when his first season at Inter, or the season where they won the title, right? Inter needed him, not just in terms of needing a striker that's a focal point ever since losing Mauro Icardi. In terms of that type of number 9. Not only did they need that, but it's like it was the perfect marriage between two people in terms of Lukaku never made it in his first spell at Chelsea, never made it at Man U, or had his moments at Man U, but it still never turned out how it's supposed to,
Mhm.
right? It was
Yeah.
the perfect marriage because both people needed each other. So, for example, and I hate bring this into like the real world of dating, but when somebody break up with you, right, or a relationship don't work out, right, you
Yeah.
tend immediately you are when you find somebody who like willing to accept you as you are, you're somewhat willing to even work harder for that person. So if he's going, so you leaving Man United to Inter, both needed each other. Inter needed somebody to put them back to the top of the table in terms of a striker who can put up Icardi numbers. Now, Luarter can put up Icardi numbers, or even better,
Yeah, but
but
he's not asked to do so. He's
no,
never been asked to do so while he's there.
because he's not a natural. I keep telling you, for some God Almighty reason, me and you always have to argue that Luarter is not an out and out striker. He's Carlos Tevez 2.0.
Yeah, but no, we're talking his goal scoring numbers though. like you said, he can put up. I believe he can even put up better numbers than Loatario if he was just asked to score goals. But he's not
No,
asked to
no,
score
but that's my
goals.
point, Leon. Just like Carlos Tevez, you're not asked to be or out and out like main goal scorer. Yes, you can put up numbers. Look at Carlos Tevez even when he went to Juventus. But your overall game is what we needed. You see me? And Lou Arturo's overall game is where he can drop off, link up play, make passes for others. You see me? One of the things that Conte did to actually help was incorporate Christian Eriksen as a playmaker to take out some of the playmaking duties and bringing in Alexis Sanchez as well, because Sanchez was key to that Inter team, whether people like to admit it or not. But every time he switched to a 3-4-3, it made Luartara more dangerous because now Sanchez was the creator. No, Luartara doesn't have to drop as deep and can play closer to Lukaku. Same thing. Well, it's similar when Eriksen is there, but when Eriksen is there, Eriksen is so deep in midfield that Luartara still has to drop off a
Uh,
lot.
Ericsson's job is to advance the ball,
Yeah,
but you still needed somebody to link him, like connect the two of them together.
yeah. So that's why when Sanchez was there, it still turned out great because Luartara could play a bit higher alongside Lukaku. This time now, it's not like your ex. It's not like this time the two want to need each other, which is why I think the relationship has soured. They don't need Lukaku anymore. Granted, they're not in the best position in the table, but that's a different problem. They don't need what Lukaku has to offer anymore. So I don't think Lukaku is taking care of himself in the sense that I think the situation is getting the most of him. Granted, some of it is self-inflicted wounds, as I said, with the Chelsea situation, but Inter is supposed to be an escape from Man United situation and Chelsea situation. Why isn't it working out this time? Because they don't need you this time. The first time you came there, both parties needed each other. They needed the relationship. You decided to go back to one of your exes where it never worked out with. And you tell her the first thing you do when you're reunited or tell her, say, yo, you love the last girl where you did there with like poison. Is it me? Like you're completely in love with the last girl where you did there with you. Not even what.
And then get vexed when she left you.
And then get vexed when she's like, all right, you're not over the girl where you just want just like take you back from. So no, that girl don't need it either. Inter doesn't need Lukaku in terms of how their style of play. Plus, Luartara is doing a lot more the goal scoring now, anyways.
Mhm.
And they're in a Champions League semi-final.
Without
They
you, basically.
exactly, and then now Inter can still win the Coppa Italia because they're in the final. They beat Juve 1-0. So they're in the finals versus Fiorentina.
And
So
most of this is has been without you.
all of it has been without you, not most of it, all of it. As you say, he has only 2 goals from open play.
Rest time goal, my penalties. And
Exactly.
he comes off the bench. He don't even start.
Because again, he doesn't fit their playing style.
He doesn't fit Chelsea's playing style. Well, does he fit Pochettino's playing style?
He can be.
Because now we're hearing that, oh, the club are going to ask Pochettino. And again, I understand the fan point of view, that the fans don't want him back. But from the footballing point of view, and most importantly, a business point of view, you shell out 100 million pound this player. And Inter only are going to want him back if them basically
If
we
them can
have to
get him
pay
for penalty,
Inter
yeah, for taking
to
from him.
keep him.
Yeah.
And Chelsea need of a striker. We know Lukaku scores goals. If you put in mind to it, he will score goals. Those them are gonna ask Pochettino want him. Them are gonna ask the dressing room, and them are gonna maybe take a fan temperature and see if the fans them are gonna accept him back.
Yeah, but
But Chelsea starve of goals. Do you think him can work with Pochettino?
I,
Seeing how Pochettino likes to play high aggressive football, front pressing, a very aggressive press.
yeah,
In
but here's
players them
the
have to
thing.
work very hard.
Here's the thing. It's not about hard work, because Inter players still have to work hard now in this playing style. Pochettino's style to me is very similar to and I know you're gonna hate me for saying this. Um Glob Henkes. And why I say that, before you jump down my throat and kill me,
Yes, a
pause,
playing style. It's a playing style.
pause, is because Pochettino's style of play is about adaptability. For example, if I'm playing at, granted, most time team them play with a high press. That's not the point I'm trying to make. If I'm playing a team where I need to kick it long, I like to have players like that I can kick it long with. Meaning, let's use Southampton. Let's not even let's disregard him Tottenham spell for now. Let's use Southampton. Pochettino, and this is almost like people forget that Pochettino is a good coach because I'm Tottenham spell.
I don't even think so. I think it's a PSG spell.
No, not even a PSG. Not even a PSG, because he got a bad situation in the PSG team.
No, we know that.
That's
And
what I'm
let me
saying.
say, if you remove the fact that he managed Tottenham, if you're a Chelsea fan, right?
Yeah.
And if you remove the club, just remove the name of the club.
And look
Right?
at
Just
his attack.
ignore the name and look at the results. Where was Tottenham when he took over? They were struggling for top six. They couldn't even finish six.
Exactly.
If they make top four, then them don't make back top four again another 5, 6 seasons. They were an upper mid-table club,
Exactly.
battling with West Ham for them little seven,
Exactly.
six
Harry
place.
Redknapp give them a little one Champions League appearance,
Exactly.
and then
Team
them
Sherwood, I
disappear.
think they get them a little one Champions League appearance, but that
No,
was
no,
it.
no. He took over the team while they were in the
Oh,
Champions.
okay. So,
Villas Boas did a try, I think. Because people forget, Villas Boas get fired. Team Sherwood did take over for a little while, get fired, and there was somebody else. Or I think it was those two before they brought in Pochettino. But let's use him Southampton spell. Are we does anybody stop and realize that if it wasn't for Pochettino, Ricky Lambert would never have gotten an England call and a move to Liverpool? What talk Ricky Lambert? What talk about somebody who's, and I'm not trying to disrespect him, but seen as a lesser Peter Crouch
yeah,
in
I
terms
was
of
Peter
he's a
Crouch.
target man. Granted, Lambert could have scored penalties like crazy and he could have scored free kicks as well. But he's seen as that gangly
Yeah,
target man who's
Peter
super
Crouch
fast.
from Wish.
I'm not gonna go all the way to Wish, but maybe Alibaba. Even Alibaba is a big company still, but
Yes, Alibaba is a very big company.
but the
I
point
don't
is,
know.
the point I'm trying to make is
Alibaba is the Amazon for Asia.
for
Like, what you
Asia, yeah,
talking about?
like that's why I'm gonna try to like figure out some. But the reason I never want to say Wish because to me it's still kind of belittle him a bit. But the point is, Pochettino likes teams where um him can switch between strikers. You remember Jay Rodriguez,
Yeah,
who plays
that's a
at West
throwback.
Brom?
That's a throwback.
Remember, his striking options were Jay Rodriguez and Ricky Lambert. Now against teams that he needed to kick the ball long against, him have a Ricky Lambert up there. Against teams who he wants to play the ball on the ground against, it's Jay Rodriguez up top. Now you have Adam Lallana, so it never really matter because him could have played in either style. Him can feed off of the target man in front of him as a number 10, or him can drop deep and help play making a 4-3-3. So that helped a lot of your problems, creativity wise. Because remember, then by Gaston Ramirez from the Uruguayan attacking midfielder who was tearing up Syria at the time. And it never worked out.
I was doing a deep dive on Pochettino, right?
Yeah.
And his Southampton team, even to this day, it still has the Premier League record for the amount of distance covered in our season,
Yeah.
in terms of how hard they worked on the pitch. And
Yeah.
his Tottenham team, like when he was fired, right? I think his two, his three Southampton teams and his two Tottenham teams were on like the top six list of distance covered.
Yeah, and again, he earned Morgan. Well, granted, he discovered Morgan Schneiderlin. Granted, a Coleman season make Schneiderlin get signed to United because him play under a Dutch manager, end up play under Van Gaal. But Schneiderlin was discovered by Pochettino from in the Championship, and like when you look at the amount of players he's groomed that have played elsewhere, who
Persons also forget that he's one of the biggest reasons why Son became the player that he was.
Exactly.
because Son wasn't being used at Tottenham. Son was up, basically, Son was out the door before Pochettino come in
Yeah, because
because Spurs wanted to sell him.
yeah, because they saw him as a flop because he was supposed to be the Curry and Messi. Remember, when he was at the Bundesliga, it was he led Hamburg. He had Hamburg save Hamburg from relegation, then
Mm-hmm.
moved on to Leverkusen and keep them in the Champions League. So they thought they were getting this Curry and Messi, and they didn't even know how to use him because at the time
You
Son
never
came
know if he use him.
over 10.
Tim Shergill was useless. You never know if he do it with Son.
Exactly. So Pochettino likes having striking options. Now, the underrated thing about Harry Kane is that he reminds me a lot of Rooney in that, even though I'm taller than Rooney, even though he can play as an out and out striker, Kane can drop off into midfield, link up
Yeah,
play,
his
kick
playmaking
out
ability is good.
passes, exactly. And that's the part that I'm afraid of any one of Chelsea's options that me and you have spoken about in terms of strikers. Because of all of the Chelsea strikers, whether it's the ones in our squad currently or the ones that we have in mind for transfers, all of them now need the ball to be played into feet.
Unless Pochettino can turn Havertz into a striker, we don't have anybody that can play from midfield or drop into midfield and feed the ball out to.
Now, Christopher Nkunku can solve that problem if
Yeah, but Nkunku is not a striker.
exactly. No, that's what I'm saying.
Still
If
a
he's
number
a
10
falls
like
that
Havertz and Felix.
exactly. Well, to me, even naturally a creative box about midfielder, because
Yeah, because he's a centre mid.
exactly
He's just being used as a number 10. Leipzig use him as a number
as
10,
a
but he's
number
a
10.
centre mid.
Exactly. So Um, how I look at it is that yes, Chelsea is going to need an out and out number nine. So it's not that Lukaku cannot work. But when I say work, what I mean is that you're not gonna start every match. Because there's going to be days when we need the false nine more than we need the out and out number nine. And unless we find a striker who can do both,
I think about Ivan Tony. But then, like, you don't really like Tony still, you know.
for
But
some reason, I feel like I don't like Tony. It's not that I don't like Tony. I just don't like how people overrate him. He's a good forward. Whether I want to choose to play for Jamaica or not, as a matter of fact, I'm the one who said I don't want him to play for Jamaica. But
But do you think he's a good option though? Because he's very good at dropping into midfield and linking up play. That's what he does for Brentford now.
no, no, no. That's why I said I don't want to underrate. I don't want what I'm trying to prevent, Leon, is people overrating Ivan Tony.
No, well, I don't think person see him as this superstar, great striker gonna get 30 goals a season.
Yeah,
I
but that's
think person see that if he's already scoring maybe 20 for Brentford, he probably can get 20 for Chelsea in the league. Because he's scoring 20 in all positions, in all competitions at Brentford now.
yeah, but there's no pressure behind that.
As I was saying, there's no pressure behind it. But we still feel like, say, he can still offer Chelsea 20 goals if you're giving the chances to score goals.
Yeah,
But
but I
again, the
can.
pressure is something where
Yeah, but
you
that's
have to
why I said
think
that
about.
what you're talking about can be found anywhere. There's a Angolan striker where I hit double digits in the Syria, right?
Mm.
Him name even difficult for me to pronounce. So you must understand. And then play for Spezia. Granted, it's a relegation club. Or well, mid-table to relegation. I would sign him for Roma. But if me really go stupid enough to believe say him can lead me to a Syria title without me having either another striker with him, and that's a problem with strikers like Tony. Mega have to do like a striker by committee type of
Committee.
yeah. No
So,
striker.
similar to where we had like Anelka and Drogba.
Yeah, but here's the difference
But
with that.
We knew Drogba could lead us to a title.
But Anelka could as well. Anelka had a leading
True,
goal
yes.
scorer season with us as well. Remy outscored Drogba.
Yeah.
And then let's say that one of
Basically, you don't see Ivan Tony as a golden boot.
yeah. No, if he's in my squad, I'm still go on to
You want to go on somebody where can give a golden boot.
No, even if you don't have somebody who can give you a golden boot, you're gonna still need an extra one behind him. Because to me, it's the Gabriel Jesus situation, but different. The reason why it's similar to the Gabriel Jesus situation is because Arsenal will always need another number nine.
Mhm.
If Jesus is their number nine.
It's the
No,
reason why City sold him. He
exactly.
cannot be the main man. It's
Exactly.
simple as that.
No, when Gabriel Jesus is in form, him can get 20 a season.
But in 20 now gonna be consistent.
Bam. And I think Ivan Tony fits into that role of striker that, yeah, they will be good strikers for your team, but you're always need another striker like him. So if me I buy Ivan Tony Leon, mega need for buy, you have to also give me. You remember the time we did have Dembaba and Samuel Eto'o?
Yeah. And we
And
had Costa.
yeah, but me thought right before we get Costa. The year
Oh,
when
yeah, we had Demba Ba, Samuel Eto'o, and Torres.
yeah, that year is the year that I would compare it to. Where yes, Dembaba can score 20 plus for Newcastle. And yes, he popped up with some important goals in that year for Chelsea. But is still never somebody for lead with to a title. And then the two strikers who were in front of him, Torres, older player and not the same half-time injury. And Eto was way out of prime. Now could still pop up and give some goals. But if I have a Ivan Tony, it's similar to a Dembaba situation where Mega want an experienced striker like a Eto who depend on it. All right, let's use a modern example. If I buy Ivan Tony, I can't sell Aubameyang.
Ah. But then that defeats the purpose of really bringing Ivan Tony then.
Ah,
Because Chelsea wants to sell Aubameyang. They're looking for a main striker because they already have a striker they want to develop.
in that row, exactly. That's why I say like if I bring in Ivan Tony, my striker room would still have to have Aubameyang in it as an experienced forward, even if him can't give me 20 plus a season or more. Still need an experienced forward that can use in the clutch. And I have that Fofana as a young striker can come up. But if me buy, let's say, a Victor Osimhen, right? Or a Dusan Vlahovic, right? Then I only need one other striker, which is that Fofana. Then no, if both of their playing styles is just not needed on the day, Kaya Joao Felix can just substitute as a false nine for the day.
Hmm?
But even just wrapping up the whole Syria thing, like I realized that at the end of the season, Napoli has, much like Arsenal, have the title challenge has gotten to them now where their legs are weary. And this is the part where you see the willpower of champions. Now, granted, Napoli are still maintain them leading the table. Arsenal basically give up for them own. But why I say it's similar is because the end of season fatigue are kicking now.
Nope.
I can see it. I don't think AC Milan is a better team than Napoli. I think AC Milan got back their players at the right time. All of the players that have been injured and out for AC Milan for the majority of the year, that has caused them to drop to even fifth and 16th on the table, all of them came back towards the end of the season. So now you have Ishmael Benassir, you have Ante Rebic, you have Leo, Govano. Giroud has been consistently there throughout the season. But even he has had a little injury spell as well. Um, Other midfielders, Krunic and them players there. All of them are come back from injury now. Junior Messias come back on the field. So a lot of the guys who were injured for AC Milan that saw them fall so far on the table are now coming back. Even their defenders. Cause them now for start. What my boy from Schalke name again? Where they come from
Um,
Schalke, the centre back.
Centre
Tiao.
back from Schalke,
Tiao, yeah,
Tia. Oh
Tiao.
yeah.
Them now for start. They don't have to start Tiao now. You see me? Them can now play cashier beside Tomori again, where you have one experienced centre back and one centre back with young and mobile. Like, so they're coming back at the right time. Granted, I don't think them that now gonna affect the title race. And I said it, unless Arsenal do, because again, I never expected Arsenal to beat Man City, but their job was to not fuck it up against other teams.
Yes, and I think what's reaching Arsenal, and I think Napoli is also reaching it as well, is physical and mental fatigue. So there was a stat that posted that Arsenal in Europe's top five leagues, Arsenal has made the fewest changes to their starting 11, right? While Chelsea has made the most changes to their starting 11. And Napoli is somewhere at that top with the fewest changes to their starting 11. Now, me and you know, say, yo, for a league campaign, you need depth to be able to like carry the title across the line. Because your players playing week in, week out for 30 plus matches in our league, plus cups and Europe and all these things, eventually there's a physical and mental fatigue that sets in on the players.
Yeah, but here's why it's slightly different for Napoli though. Are still the same fatigue and everything, but Napoli have depth, and the difference with Napoli is that the entire depth sheet, and yeah, they don't change the starting 11 much. But you know what Napoli has benefited from this year?
Mhm.
And I know that Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia get a lot of attention. But what people don't notice about Napoli this year is that all of their players have chipped in into their wins. So nobody's talking about Giovanni Simeone. But when Osimhen can't find a goal, Simeone comes on and score.
They must
When
have Raspadori as well.
exactly. Now Raspadori is still kind of used more as a out wide guy, even though he's naturally a second striker, false nine-ish type of striker. And still play through the middle, but he's a smaller striker who creative.
Mhm.
They're kind of use him out wide. With him because I'm creativity and him dribbling or whatever.
Yeah, like the drop off between Napoli's starting level is not that big compared to what they're bringing on.
It's not big at all because Angisa and Ndombele would have said they're on the same level. Elman's not up on the same level as Zielinski, but close enough. You see me? So midfield
I
wise,
just think that the biggest drop off is like that left wing position because there's nobody in the team that is as good as Kvaratskhelia.
that's where they use Raspadori.
Exactly. And that's not where I feel you don't get the best out of him there, but him will give you numbers there.
Yes, so Politano and Chucky fight for the right wing spot, and as I say, Raspadori should be playing through the middle, whether as a false nine or play him alongside a striker when you need like a tactical change.
Mhm.
But they've been using Raspadori. All right, if Kvaratskhelia just have to come off of put on Raspadori. Um, their midfielders are identical to each other in playing style, and yeah, there's a slight drop off, but it's not far, as I said. So
But
with
when
the,
you compare that to Arsenal, however, though, the drop off is massive.
to an extent, because I still think Smith Rowe is a good player. I still
Yeah,
think
but he's no
Fabio Villa.
Odegaard. The talent, the level between Odegaard and Smith Rowe is huge. They have no proper backup for Saka or Martinelli. Granted, I think Trossard and Martinelli is on a similar level, so I give them that. But they have no backup for Saka.
I would give that to Reece Nelson though. I would give that to Reece Nelson. It's still a drop off, but it's not that to me that far with Reece Nelson. Granted, Reece Nelson is not left footed, so still
Yeah, true. So I'm not saying that they don't have options. I'm just saying that if they need to rest, if somebody's out of form, or if they need to bring on somebody to
that's the
change
key
the
word.
game,
That's the key word.
they don't have persons like Pep can bench Mares and use Bernardo Silva right wing. Or him can bench Bernardo Silva. Like persons forget that this year Pep was benching De Bruyne because De Bruyne wasn't playing well.
Yeah, but that's different.
And Pep benching.
Hold on, but here's a difference with that.
But Pep can bench De Bruyne and put Gunnagan and Bernardo Silva in a midfield,
Yeah, but
and
here's a
there's no
problem with
drop
that.
off in his team.
And here's a problem with that, Leon. And this is why I must say that. Like Pep should have had two Champions League already at City. because of who Pep Guardiola is, and this is I'm gonna say that some clubs are gonna always have an advantage in terms of manager and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of these players would not bench for any other team.
No, they won't. They wouldn't.
And I can't ask Arsenal to have two starting 11s. To me,
I
that's
know.
unfair.
I know.
Of
Because I
not even
think
just
even Pep said too, when him said like every time he bench Mahrez vexed him. And he said that yes, Mahrez wouldn't be Mahrez would start for everybody else in the league. But sometimes after bench him and he's always upset at me when I don't start him. But then he comes down and he plays and then he reminds me that oh this is why you should always start me. But I can't always start him because I have to manage the load and manage the season and there's other players as well. But because he's Pep Guardiola, because he is who he is, players are okay to sit on the bench and wait them turn, basically. I just say you can't ask that of Arsenal or of Arteta or of a player say, yo, you're okay being second fiddle
and
because City's having the same problem with Alvarez, where man say like, yo, my left South America's top goal scorer, right? We go World Cup, we not World Cup as a key player part of the team, and come back on a right bench, like this not gonna work.
and he's been performing for City. It's not
And
like
he's been
he's not performing.
performing exactly. Say, yo, this riding bench thing not gonna work, but them give him a bumper pay wage and lock down the contract even longer to convince him for stay. But City's in that position to do that.
Yeah, and that's almost
Arsenal isn't.
because even Chelsea benefited from that. Because remember, we had at some point in our squad,
We had international captains on the bench.
you have not just that, there's the fact that we have international captains. Between 2011 and 2013, our striker room consisted of Sturridge, Drogba, Anelka, right? Our wingers were Malouda, Kalu, had one Mata, who played as a 10 but came in as a winger. You see me? We had Basingwa, Paulo Ferreira at fullback, Yuri Zhirkov as a winger and a fullback, Ashley Cole. Ivanovic, there was a point where we couldn't choose if we should play Ivanovic as a centre back or a right back.
True, because I remember when he came here, was using me at centre back,
Because he's
and we
naturally a
had
centre back.
Bazingwa at right back. And then we moved him out to right back when we bought Cahill and David Luiz.
Exactly. And we're still at the time, when we're bringing Kale and David Luiz, we're still at Alex, still at John Terry. So, like, there's certain times, like, there's certain teams that can benefit from that. I think that was one of PSG's biggest struggle this season. Because the funny thing is, PSG up until who was the manager before Pochettino?
Tuchel.
Up until Thomas Tuchel, PSG had two starting 11s that they could put out of quality. After that, they had a starting 11, and then we'll just give you one bench. And I think we're seeing it now with even Galtieri. We saw it under Pochettino. We're seeing it now under Galtieri. When your squad isn't built properly, you're gonna always suffer.
Yep. Good tactics. Good tactics can. Great managers will mask the deficiencies in your team. But at some point in time, tactics can't hide everything. Eventually, everything will expose itself. And that's what's happening with Chelsea. That's what's happening with PSG. You reach a point now where tactics just can't cover.
Yeah, so well, as we move over to just want to like wrap up League on real quickly. Marseille fire everybody.
And some Marseille fire everybody.
Fire everybody.
Do a Chelsea on fire everybody?
Fire everybody. Fire everybody.
Yeah, be careful your wish friend. You might be like Chelsea.
Fire
And
everybody.
staring at relegation.
Fire everybody. Monaco to me has surprisingly stuck with their guns, but I would really like the Monaco team to start spending money again. It not to be like when they did buy James and Falcao,
Mm-hmm.
but like at least spend a good amount of money on some youngsters so you can make,
Because it's not like it's not like you're broke.
yeah,
Like they have their owners are just as rich as PSG. Well, not as rich as PSG owners, but they have money. They just don't spend any of it.
exactly. And if it's even like when he did that buy the Tielemans and Ronnie Lopez and Yannick Carres on them guy there and Lucas Campos where they're underrated, you gotta get them for cheap and you gotta sell them. Not for expensive big deals like a 30 million deal, but you still gotta make a profit for your money. You see me?
Yeah.
So like I think Monaco need to invest now because RC Lens can, and again, Lens has a history in the in league on. They've won a league on title, blah blah blah. They used to be a top four contender, blah blah blah. That was before me born.
Mm-hmm.
So, or at least when we just born and I grew up. But the point is, Monaco should not be where they are. They should be competing with PSG for the league title. Marseille should as well, but Marseille chooses to self-destruct. So that's a for them thing, apparently. But Marseille has chosen to self-destruct. And when I became a fan of Marseille, I knew that they were not the, how would I put this? They were usually the runner-ups in Ligue 1. So
Rather
when,
winning it or running or being a runner-ups. Back then
yeah,
it was them and Leon was like the top dogs.
yeah, but Leon did still beat the shit out of it. Granted, Leon was the place where the majority of young French footballers came out of the
Yes.
best academies. Um, we even stole one of their players to beat them. In Hatem Ben Arfa. Ben Arfa is really a Leon Academy graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Won the league with them as them young golden boy. Granted, they still had Benzema at the time, but we took Ben Arfa from them and won the league title. Um, but the point I'm trying to make is that every time things seem to be going well for Marseille, then finally fucked up. Bielsa took us over after that drought after Deschamps left,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't even competing in Lyon. And he created a decent team. Even got Payet to move to West Ham.
Yep.
You fire Bielsa. Why? Who knows? New ownership come in and decide that they're going to spend some money. And they brought in some decent players. They brought in Andre Villas-Boas, but
Yeah, boss decided to want to a rally driver than a football manager.
no, but here's the thing. Here's why I disagree with the Villas-Boas thing. Villas-Boas should be working in conjunction with ownership. What ownership wanted to do, what ownership wanted to do was okay, we're gonna just buy some players and you need to figure it the fuck out. And I think managers, especially like VS Boss who have a specific playing style, I don't think that's the best way for ownership to handle that situation. You see me? So I still think it was the administration. I still think it's the administration who caused VS Boss's fake. The squad wasn't even playing that bad. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're constantly bringing in players that the manager didn't ask for, or it wasn't the manager's first or second choice or third choice for that matter, you basically just say whoever buy and give, use. You see me?
Yeah.
Like at some point, and we've seen this with managers before. Yes, there are some managers that are great head coaches, but at the highest level, when you can build a project around a manager who has an identity, the team knows what they're trying to accomplish, rather than just giving a manager a group and say figure it the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when that group doesn't have an established core yet, which is why I still think that a lot of people misunderstand Chelsea's success. You see me?
Yeah. But why is a misunderstand though?
For some reason, people believe that Chelsea's success was all right. We just like a give coaches a group of players and they need to figure it the fuck out. No, Chelsea had a core group of players who, no matter who you bought, no matter who you sell, as long as that core group stuck together, you had a specific leadership group within the team. Now that core group is also so happens to be your best players, your best defender, John Terry, your best goalkeeper, Petr Cech, your best striker in DBA, Drogba, who leading
Your
the
best
lines from the front,
midfielder.
your best midfielder, and then another one of your better defenders in Ashley Cole. You see me?
Which
Now,
was the best in his position at the time.
at the time, exactly in the world. You see me? So, people misunderstand it like, oh, Chelsea just constantly buy players and throw players together. To some extent, that is true, but they always sold and bought around a specific core group. So no matter how many Makalelis, Contes, Essie, and Ramirez that will buy, no matter how much Mikel will bring in, Raul Morales, Thiago, Deco, Balak, you see me? No matter how many of those were brought in, no matter the Andrei Shevchenko, the Hernan Crespo, the Didier Drogbas, the Mutus, the Adrian Mutus, they were all
Bad man.
still.
That was an awful signing.
I'm not say no. I did not say no to that.
But we always had Drogba to rely on.
You always had a core group that you could waste money around. So then Baba never turned out exactly how we want him to turn out. No matter. Like we still had the core group of players. You see me? Loic Remy. Some people forget so Loic Remy did at Chelsea at some point.
Oh Ross, yeah, we did buy with them Baba too.
Yeah.
You forget.
And I was a big proprietor of that deal. Now granted him couldn't stay fit.
I mean, Newcastle did buy for today.
Yeah.
Yo, you know, we were the reason why that Newcastle team got relegated though.
In terms of rating, it's not a matter of them. They the money properly.
True. Cause we did raid them.
And not just we, the whole heap of people raid them. Arsenal take the Bucci. Czech Toyota did leave for China. Dembaba come to we. Papi C say go China.
Sissoko went to Tottenham.
Sissoko got Tottenham.
Barcelona just scored on the counter. Them lead the tie 2-0.
Women's Champions League, by the way.
Yes, Women's Champions League final. Good. The keeper Berger should have done way better there. That's bad from Berger. She should have stopped that shot. That's a soft goal to concede. Especially when you get a palm to it and you palm it into your net. That's a poor shot. Good counter from Barca though. Good way to the pass. It was a 3-on-2. The ball took out the entire defenders. Oh, but I'm wrong actually. Okay, let me see something here. Okay, yeah, Berger. Like, if you're gonna come out, right? If you're gonna come out, you need to make up your mind. Like,
commit to it.
Yeah, like she come out, but she not make up. Okay, are you going to make yourself big? Are you going to go low? Like, what are you going to do, right? By the time she reached the striker, she was still upright. So the striker just passed the ball right through her leg, and the defender couldn't keep it out. Because again, Berger never decided what what are you going to do when you come out? You can't run out to the strike and you're upright. You know what I mean? You need to be down low. At least you need to be low enough that them can't push it through your foot.
Yeah.
Right? But big enough that if them lob you, and then more likely like it's easier for defenders to clear a lob because they can't put too much power on a lob than when them just blast it, and that's what she went to the low driven shot. Good counter. Chelsea has looked lost in attack over the entire leg. So I'm not surprised that this is what Barca did in the first leg as well. Hit them on the counter and Yeah. So back to back to regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, so League On right now is suffering from a case of the teams that can spend are do a bag of fuckery. Because Marseille can spend now, but choosing to the stupidness.
Mhm.
Monaco can spend, but want to stick to their youth philosophy, which I don't think you should stray far from. You
No,
can
but
still
they used to always add good signings around that youth.
around that youth, which is what they've gone away from. Now it's almost like completely youth based signings, and then hope say Ben Yedder can finish it off. You see me? And I also thought you waste Ben Yedder prime years doing that crap. Um, Leon, my God, I don't know what kind of shit show going this.
That is a definite sure.
And I don't know what's the cause of it because you don't lack talent, you don't lack a manager because Laurent Blanc has won league on with Bordeaux Leon because he was a Leon manager before even the Bordeaux spell.
Mhm.
So he's won with Leon, so he's highly respected at the club. He's won with Bordeaux. He's won.
Chelsea score back.
How much match is that overall?
It's now 2-1, 66 minutes on the clock. Sam Kerr created it, but let me see something here. The goal was scored by Retain, I think. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So the Barca players was calling for offside. Well, foul,
All
sorry,
right,
not offside.
turn on the match. Most of the goal.
Yeah, that's a good goal still. That's a very good goal.
Yeah, so in terms of the French league, like I said, it seems like a lot of self-destructive attitudes from different clubs is why the French league the way it is. Nice.
It is because no, I completely agree with you. I feel that I understand the business model of the French teams,
Mm.
but I honestly feel like the French teams have been shooting themselves intentionally in the foot of seasons after seasons after seasons. And that's the reason why the quality of the French league is not getting better because you're you are self-sabotaging yourself every year,
But here's the thing though.
and then you're
There's
wondering why your league is becoming more and more unattractive. And it's like what you always tell me, right? Persons aren't watching the league, right? So even though there's very good football being played, if you actually watch the league, right, the clubs aren't making it easy for persons to tune in and watch the league. Like Lil win last year, or well, the year before last, and what them do? Them
complete
scrap them entire team.
and them entire team. Now,
So when
granted, that
persons are
brought
like, "Oh, Lil win, Lil B PSG," oh,
nobody
all right,
can nobody can
make we tune it in and see what go on this year. This year, your final say Lil the six. Why
yes.
Lil the six? Oh, them sell everybody.
And it's not even the selling of the players, you know. You never replace them. Even the Hazard generation. You know what was good about Lille after the Hazard generation? They
Mhm.
bought Dimitri Payet. They lost Musa So, their top striker that season,
The
to
last win in the to
Gervinho
Gervina to Arsenal,
to Arsenal, who's their starting right winger at the time. They lost
and
Hazard to
Chelsea took
Chelsea,
Hazard.
and they lost Johan Kabay to Newcastle after that year because he was their playmaker, he was their attacking
Mhm.
midfielder. You see me? So the loss of players is not the problem.
But
The,
they replaced those players. That was the
exactly.
thing.
They
Because Lille
replaced
was still competitive
exactly.
after those players left.
Yes, because
Granted, they never had the X factor that that team had, right? Which those players were world class players. They were players that were, if not world class, they
close to
were
world.
teetering on world class.
Yes. So um when you really take a stop and look at it, like every time that, and this is why I said that new fan bases cannot be developed either.
Mhm.
Because
The turnover of players, there's no
yeah,
connections being
yeah,
built
there's no connection
between
being built.
the fan or the neutrals and the players.
Exactly. So as soon as you become a fan of, like, let's use a player like Payet.
Mhm.
Marseille sells him to West Ham. Then he eventually leaves West Ham and come back to Marseille. As soon as Jerson becomes a fan favorite, you sell him back to the Brazilian league. Why? Who knows? The fans were becoming a fan of Cuisance, and even you brought this up to me. You were like, how is it that Cuisance leave Bayern and end up at a relegation team like
Yep.
Venezia? Now, I like Venezia because of their story. They're a small town club, granted a Venice, but it's still a small town team.
This is a
And
small,
they've
exactly.
built off of youth. It's not like so them just have this one bag of money with them spend. They built off of youth. But the problem with the risk of building off of youth is that you can get relegated.
Yep.
You see me? So that youthful energy brought them to a promotion, but when it came to surviving the league, couldn't withstand it. Because you needed experienced players in certain moments where you just had a bag of youngsters.
Yep.
But you were
As youth, at the end of the day, is still youth.
exactly. And you were like, how come Marseille couldn't keep? Because we got him on loan from Bayern for a
Yeah.
year. He played well. How comes him end up at Venezia? Ask the people at Bayern because Bayern gave us the option to sign him.
Yeah,
Not
you had an option to buy. Yeah.
exactly.
It
So
was a
that's
part of the loan.
exactly. So French team, you get a young French player.
And he used a French player as well because we took him from Mönchengladbach
Exactly.
and we realized that he wasn't working out here. So we sent him to France. He played very well for you guys. And then we send him back to Germany.
Exactly. And then get sold to Venezia. So my thing is that every time that league on starts to be competitive and look like a good league, the change up
Which
of
is why I have respect for Syria, you know. As much like as much as the league might not have the money that they used to have,
mm,
like if they're going to sell them players, them go make your bar feet. Your pocket are gonna burn your feet.
and then them still find a way for replace players. It's
Yep.
not just okay, new cycle all over again. No.
So Koulibaly, then brought in Kim Min Jae.
So even the turnover isn't that drastic. Now, Bundesliga, I have a bone to pick with Bayern's board. I know that Nagelsmann
FC
had his
Hollywood.
I don't even look at it like that because you guys don't have the Hollywood aesthetic. Granted, you guys have a lot of
No, we just mean drama. That's what the FC Hollywood
I
means.
know that it just means
Drama.
drama, but like
Unnecessary drama.
yeah, but the difference with a FC Hollywood is like Madrid and back in the day and like a PSG situation
Yeah,
where
but
you
remember, like we were the original FC Hollywood, you know,
true,
with
but that was
players and board members a clash and
yeah,
managers and players a clash.
yeah, I understand that. But like to me, Bayern still represented as a club to the outside world. I told you that when I started watching football, I wasn't introduced to English teams. I was introduced to teams from all over the goddamn world. Shout out to Goal TV. But Bayern, Barca, Ajax. I'm trying to think who else. Bayern, Barca, Ajax, and Leon. Granted, I'm a Marseille fan, but Leon was the kings of the French football at the time.
Yes.
They represented the perfect football club. All those clubs that I just named represented the perfect football club. We grow with youth. We can still spend a little money, but we grow. We have our own youth players who we can sell. Our players are in the national team. The players that we groom are in the national team, and we're the upstanding club that represents all that is good about football. You see me? We have our own identity and playing style. You see me? Like you, those are the clubs that represented the era of we are the club that you should follow in terms of what you should do when you want a football club. So even though there was always behind the scenes drama at Bayern, it wasn't so much FC Hollywood, more like it was more like the White House, where you know say a bag of strings and crap go on, but you don't really know what go on behind the White House doors. Right?
Yeah.
Where Madrid and PSG, because PSG is not, and recently PSG is a drama team. Because PSG need to explain why they've had constant Ballon d'Or winners and can never win dog shit. Yeah, you can't have JJ Okocha, Timothy Weah, Ronaldinho, Leo Messi, Neymar, the Mbappes, the Zlatans. You can't have generations worth of footballers, some who have won Ballon d'Ors in a team and can barely like win anything in a Europe. You see me? Not even one Champions League. Now, granted, Marseille, I'm not one to I guess I'm not one to judge because technically Marseille bought their Champions League victory in terms of buying out referees, which our own at the time did do.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it never impact the match that much. Match done 1-0. Granted, we beat a AC Milan side who should have beat, including with but we got revenge on Papin, and that was the most important thing.
Man saying get revenge for
No,
popping.
because Jackass decided to left Marseille. Granted, he carried us to a Champions League final and lost. But you got AC Milan the following year, and then we beat them in the Champions League final. So we get revenge. But like Bayern still represented, much like Barca and Ajax, the football club that you should like model yourself after. The upstanding citizen that you should model yourself after. Is it me? So even though there was still always drama behind the scenes, it was still at Bayern to some extent, it was still kept in-house. And that's why I say it still don't feel like Bayern to me. Because again, even the Robin Ribery years weren't smooth sailing.
No, it wasn't. But you see, one of the things with Bayern right now, and Bayern has forgotten their roots, right? Like Bayern has always relied on its academy, but we also knew when to move on from certain players. We would thank you for your services and be like, okay, thank you for doing that. You were a great player, legend, but here what? Your time up, time to leave. And Bayern has forgotten that completely. Bayern has held on to players that they should have moved out a long time ago, right? And those players are still causing issues in the dressing room. When these players, by all means, should have been put out already. They should have been asked to leave already.
But not even the dressing room to me isn't the biggest problem. To
And
me,
the boardroom is a complete and awful goddamn mess.
that's the problem to
They
me.
sold a 60 goal a season striker, right? And who you decide to replace him with? A winger will score maybe 20 goals a season.
I never needed a winger really.
You didn't need a winger, you needed a striker. You needed somebody to score goals. The manager that you have, you know that all of his systems is about having around a strong number 6, right? Kimmich has been, a lot of managers have been asking, yo, buy a defensive midfielder so we can play Kimmich further forward. No, let's not do that. Let's use Kimmich as the holding mid. Okay, fine. We'll put Gorteska beside you. We're bringing San, we're bringing Gnabry, you have Musiala, you still have Kingsley Coleman, we have Davies, but we have no real right back. We're using a centre back at right back in Pavard. So no real right back, right? Then you have no striker in the team. You have Choupo-Moting, good player, but Choupo-Moting is not a player that is going to win you a Champions League trophy. Again, you had Lewandowski, you disrespected Lewandowski, right? You say one thing in front time face while you do something else behind nine back. And then you go call for when the player feel disrespected and want to leave. Like, you can't complain if the player feel disrespected and decides say, yo, him go take him services and go somewhere else. But cool, fine. We're Bayern. If a player wants to leave, you tell him to go.
Yeah,
Who are
but
you replacing with?
that's
Nobody.
the issue. And also, one other thing that Bayern needs to start doing: trust the German league again.
Not a matter of trusting the German league again. You know.
No, what I
German
mean,
clubs are just no longer deciding to sell players to them anymore.
no, but even if them sell them at a higher price, you can't have full
Yeah,
corporate.
because Bayern posts a record profits, 800 million.
Highest
That's how
selling
much
jersey
cash
sales,
Bayern have.
higher, and also the highest selling jersey sales in football. Even still, I compete with Madrid and them people. And
Yeah,
Man,
because Bayern spend money, you know.
Yeah,
Bayern has hundreds of millions in cash on hand, and it just sits there.
because again, Fulkrug cannot be at Werder Bremen, who to me is a 20 plus goal a season forward, playing at Werder Bremen. Granted, 28 years old, man, on a problem with that. Like there was a time when you remember when you buy Mario Gomez from Stuttgart?
Yep.
He wasn't a youngster.
Nope.
Man did already compete against him with Stuttgart.
Mm-hmm. It's not like someone never married man douche till when I'm 30s too.
Exactly. And a sign Olich as well from Hamburg. You see me?
And then there seems to be a no clear direction in the academy.
Exactly.
There's no direction in the academy whatsoever.
Sometimes you don't want to use the academy, sometimes you don't feel like it. I don't understand what the situation is.
That's why the next executive meeting, Oliver Kahn and the fans are gonna vote him out or ask him to resign because since you're coming, he shambles. The club is all over the place. Like Rummenigge wasn't a saint and the whole Super League thing piss off all heap of people, but like Badman, like Rummenigge did have an idea of how he want the club to run. When was the last time Bayern bring through a player from the academy? I don't want people to say Musiala either. Because Musiala is a Chelsea academy product. It's just his mother took him from Chelsea and go to Germany. And we get him to move into Bayern. But Musiala was just that talented. We saw that for ourselves in the Chelsea team. But Bayern seems to have strayed away from having a strong German core of players.
Mm-hmm.
And the German strikers that they brought in, right, they've mishandled their development. That's why when I tell persons that I don't see where the goals coming from in this
Yeah, because and I
German team
even and I
because
even
we don't
let
have
go
none.
and I even let go find her.
I mean, understand why we buy in the first place. We bought a player that was playing first team football to play under 21 football. The man has not been given a chance in the senior team to say, yo, look, we see what you can do. But basically, throw away him, develop. Might wasn't left him at Hamburg. Make Hamburg continue go and develop him. The club is in this complete utter mess.
And
And again,
I feel so
Tuchel look like
sorry.
him like pick up clubs when I miss because it's the third club in a row now.
I'm gonna feel so bad for Jan Feintarp, but man at 23 now and he's playing for Holstein PL.
Yep.
Not even like saying
When you were considered one of the brightest German strikers coming up.
exactly. Was supposed to
They
be
come at Bayern, what them do? Them start play left wing. Shambles, complete shambles.
But other than that, I like where I can't even speak about. I don't even want to speak about Gladbach. No, serious. But I like where Leverkusen is headed. Leipzig seems stable, and
Leipzig
Dortmund.
has always been stable. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and
What I like is where Leverkusen. I really like what Xabi Alonso is doing down there.
yeah, but them did always just need a manager. There it was never like a talent.
True.
Um,
That's the thing, right? Leverkusen is out. This is the thing with my Leverkusen, right? They've never been able to turn their talent into like their players have not been able to fulfill that potential.
yeah, because they never get to stay long enough. Even when they were a
No,
champion. Oh, no,
even the
no,
ones who stayed,
no,
right?
no. Like even look back at them Champions League squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Balak end up come at Chelsea, Berbatov end up at Man United. Like
Yeah,
it's
but at least
Vidal end up at Juventus.
that Balak team could have probably won that Champions League.
You see me? Like Vidal end up at Juventus. Like that team got raided as well. Whenever I leave out we'll leave out anything.
Um, we all know how La Liga looks to be wrapped up.
Yeah, I think like Madrid have focused all of them efforts in the Champions League again.
Yeah, because I think it's impossible for them to catch Barcelona. I think Xavi did a very good job. But I think La Liga overall is very weak.
La Liga isn't weak enough. You actually look on the rest of the league, it's actually pretty strong. It's just that the teams that are usually up at the top are not at the bottom.
Yeah, but I just feel like overall.
Because look at it, Mallorca at a higher place than Valencia and Sevilla. Now, this Mallorca team is actually pretty good, but nobody no know Mallorca. You see me? Osasuna, they in a cup final. I play Copa del Rey final. But who is a fan of Osasuna and Sevilla, they're at the bottom of the table. Valencia, they're at the bottom of the table. Villarreal, they're in a mid table when usually them are Europa League level squad. So I
Yeah,
don't think
Sevilla, look at them 7th Europa League.
I don't think them can do right now. But that's kind of what we'll wrap up the show. Until next time. I have some other stuff I really want to talk about, but like we're gonna need another show for that entirely.
No, man, no problem.